the approximate position of the Nibiru and its 7 planets coming in. Because this is apparently a genuine photograph, in the centre there with this red with the black dot and the what appears to be a planet up to the left. It's coming in, this photograph, what I'm going to show you on Stellarium, is set up for Hobart, Tasmania, south of Australia, and you'll see Jupiter. Now if you just notice around here, the stars aren't that numerous, and I think what's happening is that the light coming from the distant stars are being absorbed into the rear of the magnetic field because the light is being bent. I mean, light is bending in space all the time. In the old Cathay ray tubes, which is the old television sets, that's how a television set works. You bend the light electrons coming at the screen. So I'll now go over to Stellarium and show you the same scene basically. So there's Jupiter there, I'll pull that over. So in this area here is where I was showing you. Now I'm going to show you what happens when we get out and away from that spot that I've determined where this is going to be, and you'll see how the light comes on. And then as we go back towards where I think that the Nibiru object is the lights go out, so I go back again, the lights go on. So the light is being bent and absorbed by the Nibiru object. So we'll go up now towards Taurus, which is up here, and you'll see the light comes on again. There's Taurus there. The light's going off now. So possibly this hasn't been noticed by the authorities. I'll just go up again. Now she comes on again. Come back down. Jupiter just goes off screen. Now we'll go left and right. Give it some perspective. Light comes on, off. The light comes on again. So it would appear to be around this area here. Not to say that it is, but it appears to be that's where the effect is occurring. Now, it could be behind Jupiter itself. It could be over this area here, but somewhere in this general vicinity. So that's just a little update on what I've been able to determine could be a possible indication where it is coming in from. And of course, Castor and Pollux down here is the twins, first and second coming. So I'll talk to you later.
In the tail of Planet X, and it got smashed to pieces, and that Jupiter absorbed most of it, and the asteroid belt is just what's left over. Now imagine that you cannot go outside even to pee for 6 weeks because there will be deadly, she calls them UVA, UVB, and UVC, ultraviolet A, B, and C rays, which kill everything. I never heard of ultraviolet A, B, and C. I knew that ultraviolet rays kill everything, especially the things we depend on. That's why I say, if it kills the things we depend on for survival, how are you going to survive? She says that some people will survive. Maybe those microorganisms will be inside the caves. I don't know. I think life is going to be extremely difficult. I hope that the first to die are those in the underground facilities, the so-called elite and government, because they are the most evil. And all you religious people who think that Jesus is going to save you, well, you're going to find out. Now, this announcement that I'm making to you is the most grave announcement I have ever made about anything. And while Patty gives advice about how to survive, she says, dig a hole, cover it with at least 3 feet of dirt, put some sort of camper or something in there, rent a Caterpillar or something, it costs $200 a day, and dig a big hole in your backyard, put your camper in there, and then cover it up with 3 feet of dirt. That's crazy. You won't have food. You won't have water. You won't be able to go outside. How are you going to flush the toilet? If you do survive, you're going to be a totally mind-controlled, chipped slave for the elite if they survive. But she says that these underground facilities, which are now stocked with food that is uncontaminated by Fukushima radiation, because they've been stocking those underground facilities for decades. A truck driver called in, a woman, and said she delivered things to Denver Airport, the underground facility there, and they were labeled just general merchandise. So there's first-hand testimony that these underground facilities were stocked. But Patty says that these underground facilities are going to rupture and water is going to flood in and drown most of the people that are the so-called elite. Now, they left us up here to die like a bunch of dirt bags. I imagine that they have cameras everywhere to watch what's going on, and they're going to be down there in their cushy bunkers watching us die and suffer and squirm. And if a fracture occurs and water floods in, I would like to have a camera to watch them drown like rats. If that water is from the Pacific Ocean, maybe it will be full of radiation, and maybe it will contaminate all of their fresh food down there. Maybe the air that comes in will be full of radiation, because all over America, tests are showing that our air is just full of radiation. And maybe this is why the psychic, the French psychic, could not see past 2012. Maybe that's why all those who did time travel said that there was a barrier after 2012. When pressed, the French psychic said, 2 possible reasons: we have a war with aliens, or I'm dead, and that's why I can't see beyond 2012. Well, you've got strontium in the air, which causes bone cancer, and plutonium, which affects all the organs and tissues. And thousands are already dying from the radiation from Fukushima. Remember that Fukushima is about 10 times worse than Chernobyl. Chernobyl was 180 tons of radioactive material, and Fukushima was 1,760 tons. So that's almost 10 times as much. Fukushima is 9 or 10 times as bad as Chernobyl. I've got some shrimp and salmon in the freezer, and I think I'm going to go cook it while the electricity is still on. I already ate all the butter pecan ice cream, and if you have any ice cream that you can't eat, call me. I'll be over there faster than you can say, those dirty bastards in government saved themselves and left us out here to die. How long does it take to say that? How do you like this? The U.S. military is guarding the DUMBs so that you can't get in. They will shoot to kill. They will kill Americans to prevent them from getting into the underground facilities. Well, I don't want to breathe the same air those people breathe. I might wind up like them. So no thanks. I'm not interested in going into a DUMB. These military have already been tested to see if they are loyal to the head Nazi, and they proved that they will follow orders. They will kill anyone they are told to kill. And they think they're heroes. Their reality is not the same as your reality. They live in an illusionary world. I would consider it mental illness, because they don't know reality. Soon all the banks will be closed, and you won't be able to get any money out. And I have been advocating that you get your money out of the bank anyway, and what I have seen on this video with Patty is that the money you hold will only be worth something for a little while longer. And soon, nobody will be interested in your money. They're not going to trade real food for fake money. We have been expecting a currency collapse anyway. I just had no idea that it would turn out like this. If you have a house that's made of cement block and a roof that's not made of wood, that's valuable. And there isn't any amount of money that I would trade for such a house. Now the value system changes. If you've got a Caterpillar, a bulldozer, a backhoe, this is extremely valuable. This is worth millions of dollars. even if you paid $6,000 for it, because this is the difference between life and death. Perhaps. I don't know what you call life after something like this. You come out of your nest and breathe radioactive material that will be in the air for thousands of years. You call that life? Look up Patty Brassard, Brassard, on YouTube. Watch the videos, the interviews. There's one with Veritas Radio out of Tucson, and that interviewer is very smart. The sound quality is pretty good. There's another one where they talk about the kill shot, and they put the date August 5th, 2013. The sound quality is very poor. Very, very poor. It's difficult to hear the announcer. It's difficult to hear his guest. There was no attention whatsoever given to this video on quality, and if you're able to get anything out of it, that's great. There's a lot of blank space, so it means the audio was not edited, and because of these reasons, it's not a very good quality video. But it's the best you have at this time. You might wonder what is going to happen to Patty. Well, she said she's old, and she's already lived far longer than she expected to. She's falling apart because she carried an M16 across her chest, and the bullets were either depleted uranium or enriched uranium. Can you imagine the U.S. government having soldiers carry radioactive material so close to the chest? This is disgusting, disgusting. And this story should spread to all military so they know how the government really thinks of them. Listen to Patty's testimony. She was in Iraq. She was in communications. These lives meant nothing to the Nazis. Nothing. They were pawns, and the military should understand that. I didn't know that they were using enriched uranium. I knew they were using depleted uranium, but I thought it was only for shells. She said when they are trying to penetrate the ground, they use enriched uranium. These are war crimes. That's who your government is. They're war criminals. They're false flag inside job terrorists. And Patty says the last 4 major terrorist attacks were all inside jobs. And it was done in order to take the guns because they can't pay the Chinese in gold, and so they offered them coastal properties. The Chinese wanted coastal properties, but they said, you disarm the people first. That's what Patty said. That shows you she has a lot of inside information. Now remember, August to November, about 4 months, will be the roughest part of the passing of Planet X. She said if you want to save yourself, it's already too late. She produced some very believable images to support her claims, and she claims to be able to access computers at NASA and EPA and other government agencies. And she revealed that NASA is not a government agency, it's a private corporation. She said it's no more government than the Federal Reserve is. There's one more thing I would like to tell you. She said that 6 astronomers or scientists, these are top astronomers and scientists, had decided that they were going to talk and tell the people, and all 6 of them were killed recently. I haven't heard of it. I don't know who the scientists are, but I think that Patty might be murdered soon also. I would not be surprised. In fact, I am also looking for a bullet, but I'm old and it doesn't matter if they kill me. I don't want to die of thirst. I don't want to die frying under a microwave sky or dying under UV light, ultraviolet light. This is not for me. I'm going to continue my effort to inform and let the chips fall where they may. You all have a right to know what's coming, and your Nazi government will not tell you anything because they want you dead. That's the way it's been for a long time now, and I've been saying it from my first video because I've been reading and putting the pieces of the gigantic puzzle together, and I know what evil looks like. Government is pure evil. And if you didn't know that before today, the next 10 days are going to be enlightening, trust me. And all that propaganda you've been sucking up on the TV will now be blown away when the electric grid goes off and you have no TV and no drinking water. You'll be defecating outside because the house stinks from a toilet that can't be flushed. There's no water. The government wants you dead, and you're better off dead. And all you religious people out there who hounded me relentlessly and dumped your scriptures on my channel, I hope Jesus saves you from the frying sun's rays. And I got some advice for you. Pray while you cook. That's as much as I can say at this time. Have a wonderful day. And thank
Along with all the stories about the bases and ants and ruins, have long been fascinating to everyone believing in and searching for life outer space. And we are coming closer and closer to confirming these so-called rumors. What's up, YouTube? You're listening to JT from X-Sans, and today I'm very excited because of this amazing footage on the moon that shows some very obvious and undeniable movements in the center of the crater. This is huge because other than all the Apollo's footage and stories since the 1960s, this is the first time we again have something this close, this clear, and this undeniable to prove that extraterrestrial life forms do indeed exist, and they might be much closer to us than we have previously thought. And there's nothing unbelievable about this because the movement is clear, and it is also known that NASA has discovered liquid water on the moon. That is a big deal because liquid water is the needed condition for life to exist, at least for the form of life that we know on Earth. So without any further delay, I will give the footage to you. Please watch this. Okay, so what do you think? To me, it's just, wow. Seriously, wow. Shall we watch this again? As you can see at the centers of the dark craters, something kind of comes out. It moves obviously and undeniably, and it seems to be spinning and reflecting light. Then it retreats back into the darkness and comes out again momentarily. This video was shot via a Meade 12-inch LX 850 ACF telescope with a Starlock set up by an HD Sony Handycam with 800x zoom. It gives us a really good zoom, doesn't it? This was set up and captured by a man residing into the town of Oro Valley. For your information, Oro Valley is a town right outside of Tucson in Arizona. So what is this thing, or should I say, are these things? Because if it were a single thing, it must be enormous. We are talking about something in the size of a football field here, spinning and moving back and forth in the craters on the surface of the moon. This is not necessarily done by extraterrestrial intelligence because we humans have been to the moon before, and there's nothing disproving the possibilities that this is a secret human project. NASA's or whoever are doing something out there may be exploiting something or discovering something without letting the public know about it. Whether it is humans or moon creatures, the structures that created this movement must be marvelous. So this is an amazing discovery, the best I have ever seen regarding unidentified activities on the moon. And it would be awesome if everyone who watches these videos shared it, because it would really bring the subject into the spotlight and research into it. It will be much more supported. Another very interesting discovery I want to bring up today and talk to you guys is all the weird structures on the moon. A lot of us know about it, and I have also talked briefly about all the Apollo footage and astronauts' testimonials and stuff at the beginning of the videos. Anyway, this image I'm about to show you may not be as interesting and strong evidence of intelligence life as the video we just saw earlier, but it is quite fascinating nevertheless. Now, first look at this image. What you see here is all the little craters, but also what seems to be a trail carved into the lunar soil. Well, as far as I know, there is no wind on the moon, and liquid water is not found on its surface, so this trail cannot be erosion of any sort. It is also not very likely to be caused by an asteroid. What is even more interesting is that if you pay very close attention, you will notice that the trail seems to be avoiding the craters, and it does a wonderful job at this. This is clear indication that there is likely some sort of intentional maneuvering behind whatever creates these trails. Now go to the big craters at the end of the trails and you will see something inside it. something that is built inside the crater. This further proves that these systems and structures are not an unknown natural event, but it was deliberately built by whatever capable for whatever reasons. We have never known, but one thing is for sure is that they are deliberately built there. Moving on. If you've known that there are images of lunar orbiters online, you probably already have surfed through them at least once. If not, you can go to search and surf right after the end of this video. Anyway, go to the craters called Plaskett U. Then zoom in to the top left corner. Between the directions of 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Zoom in as close as you can and you'll see a smaller crater next to which there is a tower. We are not 100% sure if this tower was man-made because we know even here on Earth there are similar structures that is naturally made called stalagmite. They are formed in clusters inside limestones carved as minerals diluted water dropped from the top of the cave to the bottom of the mineral accumulated. They can be quite a sight to behold. The only problem with these structures on the moon is that it is not in a cave. There is no liquid water on the surface and it stands alone. Additionally, you can see that its shadow is a bit too smooth to be stalagmite. As you zoom in as close as possible, you can see on the light sides of it, it is a bit like a dome. Right next to it, you can see one of the chairs again. Move along the chairs and you will see a little object on the chairs. And they seem to be vehicles. And these images seem to suggest that these chairs and vehicles are actually still in use, which is fascinating. There are further proof supporting this. Remember the Apollo footage I talked about earlier? There are footages showing these chairs on the surface of the moon going all over the place, over hills, into the craters, outside of the craters, etc. What is even stranger is that on and at the end of these chairs are also massive standing structures. We can tell they are standing because of the long shadows that they cast onto the ground. Now back to our origin chairs. If you zoom back into the big object next to the craters, you'll see smaller standing objects around it. They create what seems to be a system of buildings or a big building and several vehicles parking outside of it. Now, let's follow the chairs. Let me repeat, there seems to be operating vehicles on the chairs as well. And the chairs does not go randomly. It curves at the right spots in order to avoid all the craters on the way. And it does not avoid these craters in a random manner, but curves slight and make it near misses, as if to avoid obstacles, but at the same time keep the route as short as possible. This is very clear indication that the whole structure is deliberately built by, don't know who it is, could be the moon peoples, but could also be a secret human project. Remember all the rumors of mining on the moon, especially for helium? This could be one of the bases for the exploitation of helium. Now, at the end of this show, easy craters that I showed earlier, do you want another weird standing structures inside of it? Zoom in and you see, right outside of these craters, the chair seems to split into two. Mind you, because this is a crater, the chairs must go uphill. I would really like to see a non-intelligent controlled things go uphill on a planet without winds and water. So a reasonable hypothesis here would be these two structures are the two major quarter of whatever is going on up there, with the one next to the Plaskett U being a bigger quarter, and the chairs aims to connect the two buildings, curving adroitly on the way to avoid any blockage while maintaining the shortest distance possible. So let's sum up a bit what we've seen today. We have seen something the size of a football field, flashing light and moving back and forth inside a craters on the moon. And we have also seen two enormous standing structures connected by trails that seems to have been designed to avoid obstacles, and all the trails are smaller, vehicles-like structures that this seems to still be functioning. These huge discoveries once again make us wonder. Could be extraterrestrial life we have been long looking for be so close that we overlook it? Or it is that the authority are having so many things that they hide from us because of whatever reason they can think of? Well, the best thing we can do is hope for something to slip through the security system that can confirm our belief. Or maybe a public visit from these life forms in peace, I hope. Until such event happen, we will still stick around with frequent updates. So please subscribe to us to not miss our latest videos and like to support our works. It means a lot to you, Sky. Until next time we meet, keep your eyes in the sky and stay safe. This is JT and you are watching X Science.